This is the Wizard News. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled that cities can ban people from sleeping and camping in public places. The justices, in a 6-3 decision, overturned lower court rulings that deemed it cruel and unusual to punish people for sleeping outside if they had nowhere else to go. The court's decision is a win not only for the small Oregon city of Grants Pass, which brought the case, but also for dozens of Western localities that had urged the High Court to grant them more enforcement powers as they grapple with record high rates of homelessness. They said the lower court rulings had tied their hands in trying to keep public spaces open and safe for everyone. Advocates for the unhoused say the decision will not solve the bigger problem and could make life much harder for the 250,000 people living on streets, in parks, and in cars. The ruling only changes current law in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which includes California and 8 other Western states where the bulk of America's unhoused population lives. It will determine whether similar policies elsewhere are permissible, and it will almost certainly influence homelessness policy in cities around the country. Cities complained they were hamstrung in managing a public safety crisis. Grants Pass and other cities argued that lower court rulings fueled the spread of homeless encampments, endangering public health and safety. Those decisions did allow cities to restrict when and where people could sleep and even to shut down encampments, but they said cities first had to offer people adequate shelter. That is a challenge in many places that do not have nearly enough shelter beds. In briefs filed by local officials, cities and towns express frustration that many unhoused people reject shelter when it is available. They may not want to go if a facility bans pets, for example, or prohibits drugs and alcohol. Critics said lower court rulings were ambiguous, making them unworkable in practice. Localities have faced dozens of lawsuits over the details of what is allowed. They argued that homelessness is a complex problem that requires balancing competing interests, something local officials are better equipped to do than the courts. What a just society should expect is that you are not going to punish someone for something they have no ability to control, said Ed Johnson of the Oregon Law Center, which represents those who sued the city. He said, saddling people with fines and a criminal record makes it even harder for them to eventually get into housing. The only real solution is to create lots more housing people can afford, and that will take years. Source: NPR, June 28, 2024.